Hallo und willkommen. Ich bin Meister Lenz and you're watching Get Germanized, questions that the world has for Germany part 3.
I am bored. What should I do?
Ich weiß.
Get Germanized.
So last time, well, we had some pretty interesting questions going on, and this time it's not any different. Many more very curious questions. I mean, that even I had to think about. Like, I haven't answered them all yet. I'm going to answer them, of course, with you on camera. One of the questions being, so let's start off with another one. How much do German bathroom attendants make each day? Maybe I can find an average, but it highly depends, I suppose, on the place where, well, they get to do their job, and on how frequented that place is, and how wealthy the people are, or how willing the people are in that area to give any money to, well, people like bathroom attendants. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, bathroom attendants in Germany, they are people basically that sit in front of the bathroom sometimes with a little chair and a little table and a little plate on that little table, and they expect you to put 30 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, whatever you're willing to give on that table. And if you don't, they give you like a stinky eye, or whatever you call it in English. They give you like a look that says like, oh, you damn greedy bastard. And if you don't give them anything, they won't say anything probably, but I guess some might. I had it so that I didn't have any money to give them, right? And so I went into the toilet, and they probably expected me to pay them when I went out. So it's not mandatory, right? But they sit there, they clean the toilets, and they keep them in order. And so they kind of expect you to give them something afterwards. And I didn't, because I didn't have any money with me, right? It was at my place in the restaurant, because it was in a restaurant, and so my wallet was in my jacket, and I didn't have it on me. And then they said, noch einen schönen Tag, like, have a nice day, and they said it really aggressively and loud, and I was like, yeah, okay, I get it, sorry, like, I didn't say that, but I felt guilty instantly. I mean, it's not as bad as in England, for example, where the bathroom attendants sometimes sit inside the bathroom in front of the sink, right, or next to the sink. Sometimes they do that, and they sell perfume or aftershave or whatever in there, and then they hand you a towel, and you feel even more guilty if you don't give them anything. Like, those poor bastards that get that job, like, who in their right mind would want to do a job like that? I mean, some people probably don't have a choice, so I get it. It's not something it's not people's favorite job that they really wanted to do when they were a kid. They probably even don't have a choice really sometimes. But holy crap, like, those poor people that have to do these jobs, right? It must be really humiliating in a way to have to do this. So I don't envy them at all, obviously. I don't blame them, though. I mean, everyone must do something, right? But they should just have a system. I mean, that's actually another reason for there being another system in Germany where, well, people, what's it called? They have these payment toilets with these little gates in front of it where you can only enter if you put in 50 cents or euro or whatever, right? So that got rid of bathroom attendants. And that still kept bathrooms clean, right? Because, of course, there will still be a person cleaning the bathroom, but they don't have to ask for the money themselves. And I believe that is a much better system for the people working as a bathroom attendant or having worked as a bathroom attendant before, and for everyone else involved as well. Because it's just so humiliating for the people sitting there, and super annoying for, well, everyone else that wants to just go to the bathroom, maybe even just for a quick pee, and then they have to pay whatever amount. They don't even know how much they're supposed to pay if they come from other countries, maybe, and go through that whole process of being shamed into not pay, or like for not paying, or being guilted into paying. So I believe the gate system is much better. It's probably a bit expensive to be honest, because €1 for like just having to go number 1 sometimes, it's just hella expensive. You often get like a 50-cent voucher that you can use at the train station, for example, or something like that. But I'm not sure why they do that, because I would rather just pay 50 cents and not get that voucher, because I rarely ever really use it after all. So I'm not sure. Maybe you have an answer for me, or what do you think about this whole problem? I mean, other countries probably don't have that, and that might also be the reason why bathrooms in other countries might be a bit dirtier sometimes, or just, I don't know. I have no idea. Let me know. What do public bathrooms look like in your country? Are they dirty? Are they clean? How do they keep them clean? Who cleans them? It's confusing. Next up, how many plastic sleeves on average do you use to keep your documents tidy on holiday or just in general? You mean these see-through little sleeves for documents? They are super common in Germany. I have them. I use them all the time because they are very handy. You can just put some paper in there, or even multiple ones, of course, and then just not worry about it being too damaged afterwards, or getting any fluids on them or something like that. Some you can even close, and I think it's a great invention. It's good that they exist. And how many we use on average, I have no idea. Like I have probably about 50 or something in total, because they're very thin and they don't stay in great condition forever, of course, so you need some that you can use if one breaks. So I always buy a few so that I have one if I need one. I don't know how many on average, but they're definitely a thing that exists in Germany for a good reason. Not sure if that's a thing in other countries at all, but I think it's cool. I think it's good that we have them. Anyway, next up, why do you put so much butter on your bread? I don't actually eat any butter. I know that my grandma and many other grandmas used to do this. Like they put a lot of butter on it, because back in war times, during Second World War, it was very scarce. Like they didn't have a lot of butter at all that they could put on anything really. And these days it's just there in abundance, right? So you don't need to worry about having butter or not having butter or whatever. No one cares. There's always going to be butter available. We're not in war times anymore. Nothing is really scarce unless it's some exotic material that you have to import from other countries, or even exotic spices you don't really have to worry about. I mean, they might be expensive, but you can get them, right? Back in the day, you just couldn't get any butter, or it was so expensive that normal people just couldn't afford it. And when it became just a regular thing, I think people's minds must have been blown. They must have been like, whoa, I just can get butter anytime I want now? Holy crap. So they used to put a lot on there, like all the grandmas and grandpas, I suppose, as well. And maybe some people learned that from their grandparents, or even from their parents, because my grandparents were obviously my parents' parents, so they must have just picked that up, because my dad used to eat a lot of butter, or put a lot of butter on it, or I guess a relatively large amount in comparison to other people, or to me, because I don't eat any butter, whatever, I don't know. But that might be a reason where that originated from, for sure. I would say, at least. And next up, can you taste the cocoa or cinnamon sprinkled on coffee, on lattes, I suppose, or is it just for aesthetics? I have actually wondered about the same thing sometimes, because they offer that to you. For example, you're at a bakery at a train station, right, and you order a latte, cafe latte, and then they ask you if you want sprinkles on your coffee, on your latte. Cinnamon or chocolate sprinkled sometimes. I'm not sure what else you can put on there, what else they offer sometimes, but those are very common. And so they ask you if you want that. And I said, yeah, sure, why not, a couple of times. But really tasting it, not so much, unless you really open up the cup, I guess, and lick stuff off of the foam. I doubt that many people would really taste it, and that's why I also don't really order it, or I don't say that they should do it, because it's kind of pointless if you don't really taste it anyway. But good question. These are questions that I've never actually thought about, that people might be wondering about this. So good job, article, for sure. Because I'm going through an article right now and just trying to answer all these questions to you, because those were asked obviously by foreigners that have been visiting Germany or have been to Germany at some point, were just wondering and confused about these things, right? So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think it's actually something people taste, and more for aesthetics, or just for knowing that it's like some nice chocolate on there or some nice cinnamon, because I don't take any money for it, right? You don't have to pay extra for that. So it's not a money-making thing by any means. It's strange. Oh, that's a nice house. You can't really see it, damn it. Next up, why is it necessary to wear house shoes around the house? Why can't you just wear socks? Well, I mean, first of all, house shoes are a thing in Germany because our feet get cold if you just wear socks. That's just, I don't know, that's just it. And also, the floor might not always be 100% clean. For example, if you spill water, like it happened to me, you forget that you spilled water and then you put your socks into the water on the floor, and it's just so annoying. It's the most annoying feeling in the world. And you walk around with one sock being dry and the other one being wet, and it's just so uncomfortable and not nice at all. And that doesn't happen if you have house shoes on. And also your feet don't get as cold. If some people, like I have problems with that sometimes inside the house. And since these house shoes have only been worn inside, they're not dirty or anything like that. So you don't need to worry about spreading, well, bacteria or dirt inside your house. Because that is one of the main reasons people wear house shoes, I believe, to not carry dirt inside. The Japanese do this too, even to a greater degree, as so far that it's really rude if you wear shoes inside the house. And I guess it really depends in Germany if your shoes are super dirty or not, but most people, I think, would appreciate you not wearing your outside shoes inside the house. Me being one of those people, because I will not, I don't like cleaning up after people at all. Please just clean up after yourself, right? That's my take on it. But yeah, I mean, if you can't take off your shoes, or if you're just going inside for a quick whatever it is, then of course I won't make you take off your shoes unless they're super dirty. And I think it's the same with many other households. I mean, we clean our apartments regularly anyway, so I don't see the harm in every now and then just walking through it with shoes unless they're super dirty. And I believe most Germans would feel the same about this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Next up, why do Germans panic when you take out frozen food out of the freezer for more than 5 minutes and just let it lay around, right? So I guess after being at the supermarket and just being in the car, I don't know, well, because we're taught that if you defrost something, then it can get bad quite easily, or you're not supposed to refreeze it. For example, with fish, you're definitely not supposed to refreeze it because bacteria might have built that way, or then might have built already in it, and it might grow. I don't actually know the exact scientific reason, but that's what we're being told, right? We're being taught that you're not supposed to do this. And so most people don't, and people freak out and think their health is in danger if they just do it. So I get it to a degree, but I'm not like really super careful when it comes to these things. I mean, I wouldn't buy chicken, like any meat for that matter, and put it in my trunk and just leave it there for the whole day, and then in the evening take it out and freeze it, or just put it in the fridge, because then definitely some bacteria will have built with all the sun on it and the warmth in the car. That's what I believe, at least. So there is definitely a health reason behind this. But my question to you would be, what's your argument for not being concerned about that at all? Is there like maybe something I'm missing? I might be. Let's hear it. Next up, if a tree is not tagged with a number, does it even exist? These questions are so funny. I know what you're referring to. Obviously, like Förster, as we call them in Germany, like the people that look after the forest sometimes. Well, actually, I think it might be more the people that cut down the trees and not the Förster necessarily. I'm not 100% sure because I don't really know about it that much. But they mark the trees for either letting them stay there unharmed, or they mark them for being cut down. But I know what you mean. Like a lot of trees have color on it in the forest sometimes, and I guess for that purpose, just to tell the people that are supposed to cut them down at some point, well, this tree you can cut down and this tree just don't. So I guess that's what that is for. I'm not sure though. Next up, is there scientific evidence that actually states that a scarf helps you when you're sick? Again, I'm not sure. Again, it has to do with the fact that if your body is cold, if your body temperature is lower, it's more vulnerable to illness. That's just a fact, right? That a higher body temperature helps your system to flush out the bacteria better, to the virus. That's also what a fever is for, right? That's a mechanism of your body to just fight illness, to kill this illness off better. And so if you don't wear a scarf, I suppose, or any, like if the less clothing you wear and the less your body temperature is, the more likely you are to catch a cold, or I guess to not get better faster. So I guess that's the concern with people, that they think, oh, if I don't bundle up really well, I will stay sick longer, or I will get even sicker. Maybe I will contract something else on top of what I got already. I might be wrong here, but I believe that's it. Please let me know if I'm correct, well, or not. Next up, why does everyone drop everything religiously to watch Tatort on TV every Sunday? I'm not 100% sure why that is. I mean, it has to do with the fact, obviously, that it's a good show. It is definitely one of the better shows on German television. It's like, I haven't seen it a lot of times, but the production value and the storytelling and everything is just so much higher than in your average German show, because German TV productions are usually very low budget in comparison to Hollywood especially, and they're not very, I don't know, they can't really be compared to Hollywood production, right? They look different, they look not as expensive, and yeah, I don't like him as much. So Tatort is just an exception on German television, and that might have to do with it. And with it being such a great show, it's just logically that people might have made it a tradition, especially on Sunday, where many people have a lot of free time in the evening hours. Maybe they just want to relax, and so people get together with their families or friends and watch it. I heard of many people that watch it with their parents, for example, so it's like time they spend with their parents each week, because I mean, busy schedules everywhere, right? So many people might not even have that much time for family anymore, and so they use this time to get together and do that, just as an excuse to hang out, because it's also a great show. But what do I know, right? I just live here. I'm not actually a fan of that show, so I can't promise you that it's that reason, but it might be. It definitely might be. And you let me know if you have any other questions about Germany, the German people or German culture, and I will try to answer them in a future episode. Definitely check out other videos that I made. Like I said, I answered many other questions in previous episodes of this series, questions that the world has about Germany, and I drove around many a times to talk about these things, right? So definitely check those out, and apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.